4 NQF partners, NQF meaning National Qualifications Framework partners. These are the 4 actors on the National Qualifications Framework. And the 4 actors are Umalusi, which is Quality Council for General and Further Education and Training in the country. We do also have the South African Qualifications Authority. And thirdly, we have the QCTO, being the Quality Council for Trades and Occupations, and of course we have the Council on Higher Education. So we have decided to convene this joint media briefing to update the nation on various aspects of the mandates of each of the 4 entities. Because we are almost at the tail end of the national examination systems, whether you're talking about the schooling system, the TVET college system, the AT system, as well as the higher education system, we thought it important that we convene the joint media briefing just to update us on mainly 3 things. Where are we now and where are we headed? Firstly, we will look at new developments in the NQF space. Each of the 4 entities will update us in terms of those developments as they relate to their respective mandates. We will also look at the challenge that relates to unaccredited institutions, because we are at the time when people will be looking for spaces in the higher education sector, especially. And we know that the higher education sector can only take so much. There will be those bogus institutions mushrooming all over the place, luring people into their spaces. So that's another aspect that we're wanting to inform our stakeholders about. We will also talk about how to verify the authenticity of the qualifications that are issued by the 3 quality councils, because as you are aware, we do have a serious challenge with fraudulent qualifications. Every single morning when you read newspapers, when you look at what's happening on the social media spaces, these issues get reported on. And we will also talk about what will be happening between now and the new year. We are excited that we are convening this special media briefing, this joint media briefing, because the last time we met in this fashion was in 2023 in February, if I'm not mistaken. So I am not going to waste any further time. I am going to introduce the first speaker, being the CEO of Umalusi, Dr. Mafura Komezi. He will just take us through what is happening as far as Umalusi is concerned in respect of the issues I have just outlined. After the presentation or the talk of the CEO of Umalusi, we will then allow Dr. Makapa Makafula, who is the acting CEO of the South African Qualifications Authority, to lead us into a discussion in respect of the issues. Then thirdly, we will have Mr. Vijay Naidu, who is the CEO of the QCTO, talking about more or less the same issues. And then finally, we will have Dr. Wittegren, the CEO of the Council on Higher Education, addressing the same issues. I have given each one of them between 15 and 20 minutes, but they have given me a commitment that they will not go beyond 16 minutes. And then after Dr. Wittegren would have given his presentation, we will then allow the floor for discussion. CEO of Umalusi, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lipota. Let me pass my greetings to my co-panelists, the CEOs of the CHE and QCTO, and the acting CEO of the South African Qualifications Authority. Everybody joining us in person and those on the virtual platforms. We are meeting here this morning to update our stakeholders on the individual and collective roles of the 4 partners within the National Qualifications Framework space. The briefing is organized around 4 themes that the program director has already outlined. Before I get into the issues on the agenda, I would like to remind us that on the 15th of October 2025, Umalusi organized a media briefing to inform the public about the readiness of the system to conduct, administer, and manage the 2025 end of the year national examinations in respect of the following: National Senior Certificate, NSC, National Certificate Vocational, NCV Level 4, NATED Report 191 and 3 Engineering Studies, and General Education and Training Certificate, Adult Basic Education and Training, GETC, ABET. The writing of specifically the NSC examinations has now ended. However, the NCV Level 4 and NATED 191 and 3 examinations will end on the 11th of December 2025. I'm now going to provide an update in terms of what is happening between now and the 13th of January 2026, when the 9 provincial education departments will be issuing NSC examinations results to learners. In terms of where the system is now, the staggered marking process started on the 18th of November and is expected to conclude on 18 December. As soon as the marking process and associated verification processes conclude, the marks are captured onto the computer systems in readiness for the standardization of learner results by the Assessment Standards Committee of Umalusi Council. The standardization process will commence on the 18th of December 2025 and conclude on 5 January 2026. The quality assurance processes will culminate in the Executive Committee of Umalusi Council, EXCO, considering reports on the 6th to the 8th of January 2026 on how the examinations would have been conducted, administered and managed by the 4 bodies, namely the Department of Basic Education, the Department of Higher Education and Training, the Independent Examinations Board, and the South African Comprehensive Assessment Institute. Thereafter, Umalusi Council will convene a media briefing at its office on Friday, 9 January 2026 to brief the nation about the quality assurance outcomes of the 2025 year-end national examinations. The goal of the above quality assurance processes is to ensure that the examinations are conducted, administered and managed in accordance with the prescripts of the regulations that govern the national assessments and examinations, and thereby ensuring the highest credibility and integrity of the Umalusi issued certificates. The Minister of Basic Education, Honorable Ziviwe Gwahube, will announce the outcome of the examinations on the 12th of January 2026. I'll now provide an update on the developments regarding the NATED 190, 191, N2, N3, and NCV levels 2 to 3 examinations. I wish to remind the public that in accordance with the Government Gazette 49518, the NATED Report 190, 191, N1 to N3 programs entered a phase-out period as from January 2024. Accordingly, the last set of examinations for which Umalusi will issue N3 certificates are the October-November 2025 examinations. Beyond 2025, Umalusi will no longer be involved in the N2, N3 programs, except in the case of reissues or replacements of existing certificates where necessary. Concerning NCV levels 2 to 4, I wish to inform the public that Government Gazette number 53015, published on 15 July 2025, directs that NCV levels 2 and 3 examinations be set internally by the Department of Higher Education and Training, and that Umalusi ceases quality assurance and certification of NCV levels 2 and 3 examinations. After careful consideration of the directive and its implications, Umalusi submitted a set of recommendations for consideration of the Minister of Higher Education and Training, Honorable Manamela. It is at this point where I find it necessary to clear the misconceptions about the qualifications that Umalusi is legislatively mandated to perform quality assurance of. In terms of its founding legislation, Umalusi performs quality assurance in respect of the following qualifications: National Senior Certificate, NSC, Senior Certificate amended, National Certificate Vocational NCV levels 2 to 4, and Report 190191 N2 to N3 NATED programs, and the General Education and Training Certificate, Adult Basic Education and Training, GTC ABET. Further, I need to clarify that Umalusi's mandate does not yet extend to qualifications outside the South African National Qualifications Framework. This includes various international qualifications such as the AHSD, CIE and AS levels, HICSI, IBSL and HL, ICSI and KCSE, and NSSC, OL and HL, amongst others. These are the qualifications that are not on the National Qualifications Framework. Regarding the International Senior Certificate, ISC, which was developed in South Africa by the Independent Examinations Board, IEB, and offered outside the country, I must explain that Umalusi does not get involved in the quality assurance of this qualification. This because the ISC is neither registered as a qualification on the NQF under the custodianship of SAQA, nor accredited by Umalusi or any other quality council established through the amended National Qualifications Framework Act 67 of 2008. The fact is that Umalusi has accredited the IEB solely as a private assessment body to administer the GETC ABET and NSC within the borders of the Republic of South Africa. Due to the queries that Umalusi has been receiving from national and regional higher education institutions and government institutions and entities outside the borders of South Africa about the accreditation status of the ISC, Umalusi has had to issue a media statement on 19 May 2025 to clarify that position. While we are aware of the ongoing discussions between the developers of the ISC and certain role players in South Africa and elsewhere regarding the admission into public and private higher education system of students who have completed the ISC, our position as the NQF partners is that the ISC is currently not accredited or registered within any of the national or international qualifications frameworks. It is our considered view that the prevalence of unregulated qualifications has the potential to create a fragmented education landscape in South Africa, with significant implications for learners and the broader education system. The mandate of Umalusi includes the issuing and verification of certificates, the NSC, Senior Certificate amended, NCV, N2 to N3, and GTC ABET. It is common cause that Section 32A1 of the amended NQF Act places a legislative obligation on all employers prior to an appointment to authenticate that the applicant's qualifications are registered on the National Learner Records Database, and if not, to refer the matter to the South African Qualifications Authority for verification. Where a qualification is not found to be authentic, if it is found to be misrepresented or fraudulent, the South African Qualifications Authority must refer this finding to the relevant professional body. And you can access the website that is given. It will be given in the media statement. This is a welcome development considering the increase in the reported cases of fake certificates, fraudulent and misrepresented qualifications. To cap this practice, Umalusi urges employers, institutions of higher learning to authenticate Umalusi issued qualifications through any one of the verification agencies whose contact details are available on the website of Umalusi, www.umalusi.org.za. Umalusi is encouraged by the upward trajectory in the number of requests for verification of qualifications in recent times. To remind us, the penalties for knowingly providing false or misleading information are a fine and or imprisonment for a period not exceeding 5 years. I want to conclude by reminding the stakeholders about how to verify accreditation status of institutions within Umalusi space. It is common cause that Umalusi accredits registered independent schools and registered private colleges to offer either NSC, NCV, or GTC. To cap the practice of unaccredited private institutions, continue to register unsuspecting candidates, fully aware that they are operating unlawfully. We urge the public to verify institutional accreditation status by visiting the Umalusi website. I repeat, www.umalusi.org.za and clicking on Accredited Institutions icon. If an institution is accredited by Umalusi, you'll see its details such as the name, accreditation number, period of accreditation, address, contact details, email address, owner or principal, and information on grades, subjects accredited to offer. On that note, I want to end my statement by thanking you. Thank you very much for listening to me. Thank you.
Good morning, the CEO of Umalusi, CHE and QCTO, to the media houses in-house and those online. I am Makapa Makafola, the acting CEO of South African Qualifications Authority. Before I start in terms of how we're supposed to address this issue, I want to take you through the mandate of SAQA because this will be able to understand and see why we support the NQF family. SAQA's mandate is the custodian of the National Qualification Framework. It's to ensure only qualifications that are quality assured by Umalusi, QCTO, and CHE are registered on the NQF. And one of our main objectives is to protect the credibility, comparability, and integrity of the South African qualifications. One of the biggest roles that we do is to verify both international and national qualifications. Anybody who's supposed to come to the country, they have to verify their qualifications through South African Qualifications Authority. It's the Act of Parliament, and we expect people to respect such. And anybody who wants to be employed or trying to study further, they have to verify their qualification through South African Qualifications Authority. And one of the things that we are responsible for as South African Qualification Authority, we are the custodian of the National Learners Record Database. It means any achievements that is offered in South Africa, it should be on a database. So if that achievement is not on a database, it means it's something that it needs to be looked into. We are responsible for registering all qualification on offer. We are also responsible in terms of the revised NQF Act 2019 to look at issues of misrepresentation. Dr. Rakomesi did, give an example in terms of how that is. I mean, if you are misrepresented, remember this was not an act of parliament. We had people who were faking qualifications, they got away with it. But now, if you're found to be faking your qualification as part of the act, you will serve some time in jail. It is an act of parliament, and you can be charged for such activity. In terms of the things that we're working on currently as part of our new developments, MISREP is one activity that we're looking at. We have engaging with both public and private higher education institutions on how to manage what are the processes and how to report to the minister around these issues. We are currently busy on roadshows, trying to address both the providers and the public around the pre-2009 qualifications and its impact on how to transition into the new framework. So both on AQF space and on the HUCF space. And as part of trying to capacitate the public at large, SAQA have a unit called NIC, NQF Information Center, where we move around the country. You might have seen some of us on LinkedIn, even sometimes on regional radio station, where we inform people about the NQF and try to advise some of our learners in terms of how to choose careers. And mainly as part of us taking the NQF to the village, where we are targeting people who don't even understand the space that you are in and trying to educate them. And one of the things that we're looking at as we're talking about any changes that is taking place, issues around the use of AI. It's one of the things that SAQA is looking at responsibly around the policy issues. So we have a team, we form a multi-regional task team internally, looking at issues of the use of AI responsibly. It's upon us, we cannot ignore it, thinking that's something that we cannot look at as a country. And the second part that we're looking at is issues around micro-credentials as something that we need to look at, especially around skills-focused programs. As you know, that there's been challenges. We have a whole lot of things around, it takes how long to accredit the qualification, take it through the processes. But as a collective, we are part of the PAMISA project, which is a Southern African project that is looking into micro-credentials across. And another project that we are looking at, as we know that we are faced with the severity of unemployment, especially amongst our youth. We are in a project that we call a Co-Create project within SADC. We're looking in terms of how best can you able to capacitate our youth, especially around entrepreneurship. So it's one of the projects that we are looking at internally as an organization. So just to repeat what the CEO of Umalusi says, SAQA support Umalusi clarification regarding the scope of qualification in terms of quality assurance. And we reinforce, in terms of the role of Umalusi is really at here and really a quality assure everything that is offered within South Africa, not outside South African borders. So around unaccredited and institutions and public protection, we are busy doing what you call awareness campaigns across the country, making people aware, especially, I mean, during January and February, we tend to move the Department of Education and Training and the Minister to ensure that we really inform the public about bogus institutions, because they are upon us. I mean, something that we need to be able to manage, especially in big cities like Pretoria, Johannesburg, Durban, Cape Town. And this just mushroom around that time. And most of our kids find themselves, exposed to such mishaps. And it's for us as a collective, I always say, to have media around here to really engage on this topic and trying to be part and parcel of really spreading the word around bogus institution and to really support us as we try to inform the public wisely. And we do publish some material through our website as well to ensure that people are aware. And we work with the department to, any colleges that is unregistered, we tend to communicate directly around the sector as well. And one of our roles is to verify the status of institutions, those that are accredited or not accredited. So the public, they are at liberty to contact SAQA if they like to study, even outside the borders of South Africa, because sometimes we have people, it's not about South Africa as well. We have people living the country, studying institutions that are not accredited, and they come back home looking for the jobs, they struggle. So one of our roles to really, advise those who are leaving the country as well, to ensure that they really study institutions that are recognized and are accredited by their own countries. And in terms of the other roles that we're really looking at and trying to share, it's around issues of verifications. So we like to remind the public and the media that SAQA is the only authority body that is allowed to verify any qualifications coming into the country and leaving the country. And to take you through our thorough process, why this is very critical, we go through a very strict verification processes. Let's say for somebody coming from outside, coming to the country, first of all, we check whether the institution that is studied, it is indeed an accredited institution. And we check that the certificate that the person is presenting to us, it belongs to that particular person. Because people can fake any qualification. It can come from a legit institution, but the name on the certificate might not be the name of that particular person. We go further, checking the status of that particular qualification, whether it is accredited in that particular country and it appears within the framework system. So we go beyond what most people do, just to say it belongs to Macapa, but they cannot tell you in terms of whether that institution has that credibility as well. And for nationally, because of the database that we have, if you're from any other institution that is a public or private within the country, you have to appear on a database and use that to verify your qualification. And the publics are at liberty to visit our website to check any qualification that's on offer within the country. And we work very closely with the Department of Home Affairs. If anybody wants looking for a visa to come to the country, they're required to verify their qualification through SAQA as well. And in terms of our role within the international sphere, like your Global Convention, your Addis Convention around mobility, we are responsible to protect South Africa's international reputation as well, to ensure that whatever comes out of our country, it's well safeguarded. As we know that issues around misrep and unaccredited qualifications tend to undermine issues around student mobility, graduate employability, and employer trust. And not only that, it impacts on our political relationships with countries outside South Africa. And the CEO just touched, what particular qualification I do mention the IEC that because offered outside of South Africa, it might have some repercussions around this as well. So what is there to expect from today's press conference is to really make understanding and clear communication to the public around issues of credibility, misrepresentation, and to ensure that issues around bogus institutions, we fight together as a collective. And I don't think the four of us can really do that. It's beyond our mandate, because when something goes wrong, people ask you, what's your role as SAQA? So our role is to communicate, to engage with you, but it's for you as parents, as media, to start scrutinizing these things that are really, creating a problem for us. And as a collective, we want to strengthen public awareness on avoiding unaccredited providers. And we are here communicating a unified message to say, as the custodian of NQF, please come through our offices to really understand what challenges that we have within our country. And I'm pleading to the media, and I said this many times when I was on national television, when I was asked when we were dealing with issues of people who are misrepresented. I said it requires, especially the media, because you are the voice for the ears where we cannot even reach, to really, work with us around this particular exercise. In conclusion, as SAQA, I'd like to reaffirm our commitment to safeguarding the integrity of the NQF, working with our fellow quality councils to ensure that every recognized qualification in South Africa is credible, is quality assured, and trusted both locally and internationally. I thank you.
Good morning. Greetings to my fellow CEOs from Umalusi, CHE, the acting CEO of SAQA, and to all the media present. Thank you very much to the media for being part of this campaign, I would call it, to spread at this appropriate time a warning signal to the public and to the class of 2025 regarding this issue of bogus or unaccredited providers and misrepresented qualifications. And I want to say this because, sometimes media picks up the one and it becomes a sensational issue on media. We want to move away from that sensationalism to actually alerting the public. And you are the face of the public. We have only so much of a reach. You have much more of a reach than us. And so today, as we stand here, I think we have one clear message, and you've heard it from my colleagues, so I'm going to try to paraphrase. We stand united with the media to shield our learners from scams that threaten their futures, target their financial resources, and often those of their parents and grandparents, waste their time as they pursue their career goals. When learners fall victim to scams, they not only lose their money and their time, they lose access to opportunities for almost forever. The damage is personal, it's financial, and it is national. This, I may say, is becoming a national scourge in our country, the issue of bogus colleges and misrepresented qualifications, as well as fraudulent and fake certificates. This joint briefing must send a clear message. There is only one coordinated national qualification framework system, as articulated by the acting CEO of SAQA. Each of us, as the other CEOs, are responsible for sub-frameworks within that NQF. So each partner plays a different role, but we share the collective responsibility to ensure that every learner's effort leads to a recognized and quality-assured qualification and certification. Let me touch very briefly on the QCTO's mandate. The QCTO is responsible for what we call the Occupational Qualification Sub-Framework, or known as the OQSF, and that is a sub-framework that comprises the National Qualifications Framework. And by its very name, you can see that our focus is in the trades and occupational space. In terms of this mandate, the QCTO is responsible to develop occupational qualifications, part qualifications, and skills programs, And the qualifications and skills programs that we develop are aimed to drive employability, productivity, and industry relevance in the South African economy. The QCTO currently has over 900 occupational qualifications and part qualifications that are registered on the NQF. And again, I want to emphasize, it is registered on the National Qualifications Framework as well as on the Occupational Qualifications Sub-Framework. And these offer young people and adults a wide range of pathways into the artisan trades, services, new industries, and the emerging occupations. QCTO services a large number of providers, both in the public and private space, as well as certain industry training centers. All our qualifications are developed by industry for industry, ensuring strong alignment between what learners study and what their workplaces would require. In terms of a warning, as opportunities grow in the occupational training space, so does the number of unaccredited and bogus institutions claiming to offer QCTO certificates or the Red Seal. That's a common historical name for the trade tests, and they are often marketed quite aggressively on social media. Let us be clear. A QCTO qualification is only valid if it is offered by an accredited QCTO skills development provider. And I think I need to pause and clarify that. In higher education, we would talk about universities and institutions of higher learning. In the general and further education space, we'll be talking about schools. In the case of QCTO, we talk of a skills development provider, and that could be within your public as well as your private domain. So, let me repeat. A QCTO qualification is only valid if it is offered by a QCTO accredited skills development provider and assessed through a QCTO accredited trade test or assessment center. So there are two different institutional types and two accreditations. And you'll find them listed on our website. However, I must pause to say that even within this system of the accreditation, we have identified unscrupulous activities within accredited providers and accredited trade test centers, and which the QCTO is addressing. We work very closely with SAQA, the DHET, and the law enforcement agencies to identify and take action against entities that misrepresent QCTO accreditation and produce fraudulent certificates. As I indicated, we are also taking action against those who are accredited but do not adhere to the QCTO standards. What guidance do we provide to our learners? And again, I'm echoing what my colleagues have already said. Before registering or paying any administration or registration fees, verify the institution and the program. The institution has to be accredited and the qualification has to be registered. Visit the QCTO website, and I'll give you the details just now, to check on the accredited SDPs and assessment centers, or you could even use the SAQA and the DHET verification platforms. The QCTO does not sell qualifications through individual agents or via personal social media accounts. We do not ask learners to pay fees into any private accounts that guarantee you your certificates. If you see any such, it is a matter of concern and alarm, and you should contact the QCTO for verification. You know, we say if something sounds too good to be true, for example, guaranteed certificates without assessment, or fast-track red seals for a fee, it is a scam. Must I repeat? It is a scam. Anything that sounds too good to be true, guaranteed certificates without assessment, or fast-track red seals for a fee, it is certainly a scam. In terms of the QCTO's transitional arrangements for pre-2009 qualifications, which is a lot of work that the QCTO is busy with, South Africa is transitioning the outdated pre-2009 qualifications, or in some circles called the legacy qualifications, to modern occupational qualifications that are aligned with industry needs and the demands of today's economy. All qualifications already achieved will remain valid on the NQF and on the NLRD, as explained by my fellow SAQA colleague. However, learners who have not yet completed the pre-2009 qualifications must act now according to the following timelines. The last enrollment for these pre-2009 qualifications end in June 2025, but that has been subsequently extended to June 2026, but with specific approval, or special approval, I should say. And the completion of those qualifications would be between June 2027 and June of 2029, depending on the approved teach-out period of those qualifications. Learners still completing these pre-2009 qualifications must speak to their training providers about transitioning into the occupational qualifications through the credit and accumulation transfer system that we have in this country. Now, the transition is not simply a replacement exercise. As I said, it is about creating pathways into future-focused careers and jobs of the future. I can just cite a few examples. We all hear about what's happening in the renewable space, green hydrogen economy. We have already qualifications and skills programs developed to respond to that particular sector. In the solar voltaic areas, we have 3 qualifications already developed and being implemented. Most of us already have solar somewhere in our houses or starting to think about it. Those qualifications are already out there, and we need to train our students in installing and connecting up those correctly. We also started to look at the electrical and hybrid vehicle segment. And those are just about 3 of the very many that we have started to make interventions into. So these qualifications position learners for new technologies and help South Africa with its sustainability and energy transition goals. Now, the QCTO is not only responsible for the development of these qualifications. As I indicated, we are responsible for accrediting the skills development providers. We are also responsible for accrediting the trade test centers, and we do this in conjunction with partners, the sector education and training authorities, as well as the National Artisan Moderating Body, which is an entity sitting under the DHET umbrella, Department of Higher Education and Training. We're also responsible for the quality assurance of assessment and ultimately then the certification. So QCTO has a huge mandate from start to finish in a learner's journey. The call to action is simply this: verify before you register. Verify before you register. To the class of 2025 and their parents, your future is too important to risk on unaccredited institutions or unregistered and misrepresented qualifications. verify the accreditation status of the skills development provider, as I've already articulated, so that you receive legitimate, quality-assured learning experiences. To principals and teachers of schools, career counselors, and community leaders, an appeal: please amplify our message through your platforms and direct learners to the official NQF partners and their websites for guidance and for help. The QCTO, as an entity of the department, remains committed to expanding credible occupational learning pathways, strengthening partnerships with employers, and working with our NQF partners to close the space for fraudsters and bogus providers. Our website is a simple one: www.qcto.org.za, and if you get onto that website, it will be easy to navigate your way to find to yourself to the registered skills programs or qualifications, as well as the list of accredited skills development providers. So I want to thank you for this opportunity that we could together take this and carry this message forward so that we protect the interest of our learners, their parents, their hard-earned earnings. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone, and also to those online. Really a pleasure to be here today and to be able to interact with the media and through the media with the public. So the strength of a country, its economy, its society is dependent strongly on the strength of its education system. And for an education system to contribute to the development of society and the economy, it must be a quality education system. And that's where the quality councils come in, assisting to make sure that in the country we have a credible and quality education system. I certainly can talk in relation to the higher education system in the country and confirm that indeed our higher education system is credible. It offers qualifications by and large that are meaningful and that lead to trajectories for the graduates that exit from it. The CHE is the Quality Council for Higher Education in the country. Its mandate as the Quality Council is to quality assure higher education, one of its mandates. It does this through the accreditation of qualifications and through the review of institutions. No institution purporting to be a higher education institution in the country can offer qualifications unless those qualifications are accredited by the Council on Higher Education and they are registered on the National Qualifications Framework. The CHE recently has been undertaking a round of institutional reviews or institutional audits that they are commonly referred to, and we have completed the review of all 26 universities in the country. If anyone is interested in the outcomes of those reviews and would like to see how the universities are engaging with issues of quality, the executive summaries of all the institutional reports are available on the CHE's website. In addition to the 26 public universities in the country, we have about 145 private higher education institutions. We currently have a dispensation where we can call the public institutions universities and the other private higher education institutions are called private higher education institutions. I will talk a little bit more about that just now. The private higher education sector is providing a great service in the context of needs for higher education in the country. And certainly there are many private higher education providers in South Africa that are doing a sterling job in terms of offering qualifications that allow our graduates to transition into employment. If we look at the data, South Africa has a higher education participation rate of 25%. That means that 25% of the age group that could access, of the 100% of the age group that could access higher education, only 25% do. So we have a higher education system that currently is small and does not cater adequately for the needs of the country. And it's something that we have to be focusing on as we go forward, growing our higher education system in parallel with growing the other components of our education system, including our TVET system. It's not an either or. The imperative is a focus on both. Of the 815,000 learners that have written the matric exams, our post-school education and training system only has space for about half of them, which is a worry. Of that half, in higher education, there is space for about 250,000 first-year entrants. So we do have a challenge in terms of providing viable post-school education and training opportunities for South Africa's population. And if we're going to contribute to a growing economy, we certainly have to be providing additional opportunities. I want to turn my attention now to the class of 2025 and to give them warm wishes for achieving the results that they worked for. We want to welcome those that are going to be entering higher education next year through embarking on studies at one of our public universities or one of our private higher education institutions. I also want to point out that in addition to our universities and our private higher education institutions, we also have a range of public colleges, the agricultural colleges, the nursing colleges, the veterinary colleges, and the emergency medical care colleges. These are also institutions that offer higher education programs. And as I'll talk to a little bit later, they are formally about to enter the higher education sector. I want to ask our students that are looking to enter higher education next year to please exercise due diligence, to take care that the institution that they are selecting to study at is legitimate, is legally authorized to offer the qualifications that they seek to register for. For a qualification to be legitimate, it must be accredited by the Council on Higher Education, and it must be registered by the South African Qualifications Authority. And if those two conditions are not in place, it is an illegitimate qualification. The Department of Higher Education and Training publishes the register of private higher education institutions. It's easily accessible on the Department of Higher Education and Training's website. If you just go to the website and you search Register of Private Higher Education Institutions, you'll get a list of all the private higher education institutions in this country that are registered, and you'll get a list there that lists the qualifications that they are accredited to offer. To confirm whether an institution's qualification is registered on the NQF, please visit the SAQA website. The SAQA website has a search qualification facility. So if you use that facility, you type in the qualification that you are intending to register for, you will find out whether the institution you are looking to register at is accredited to offer that qualification. If it's not there, there is a problem. Please take care not to register at bogus institutions. Bogus institutions are institutions that are not accredited to offer higher education qualifications, and they are not registered, their qualifications are not registered on the Higher Education Qualifications Sub-Framework and on the NQF. There's no gray area. Bogus institutions are institutions who have qualifications that are not accredited by the Council on Higher Education, and their qualifications do not appear on the National Qualifications Framework. And you have to make sure those conditions are in place, regardless of what the institution tries to tell you. We wish you well as you embark on your studies in higher education. Every success. Take care to talk to someone. Talk to former students. Learn the ropes. Many of our students will come from backgrounds where they haven't been really exposed to higher education institutions and higher education studies. Find out as much as you can. The best support, I think, is the support that fellow students can give. In closing, I just want to point to some of the developments that are taking place in the higher education space, including in the CHE space. I already spoke about the issue of having universities and private higher education institutions. A policy has been published in May this year, May 2025, a policy on institutional types in higher education. This policy makes provision for 3 kinds of higher education institutions in the country: universities, university colleges, and higher education colleges. It means universities that are public universities. We can have university colleges that are private. We can have university to working towards becoming a university, learning and teaching. And so we'll have public and private higher education colleges. Our nursing colleges, our veterinary colleges, our agricultural colleges will all now become higher education colleges as we move forward. A further development at the CHE is the revision of the Higher Education Qualifications Sub-Framework. This is a framework that the CHE is a custodian of as part of the National Qualifications Sub-Framework. So we have recently revised it so that it is updated and aligned with recent developments in higher education and in society in general. This will be published in the next few months. We are also working on a policy for the offering of joint, or what we call collaborative qualifications. So the possibility that we will have formally, for the first time in the country, institutions being able to collaborate and put in place qualifications that they jointly offer, whether they are local institutions or whether it's a partnership between a local institution and an international institution. And then finally, the CHE is conducting a themed review of modes of provision across the higher education sector. Many institutions, as a result of new technology and as a result of the learnings during COVID, have transitioned away from the binary of contact and distance to more blended and hybrid modalities in terms of teaching and learning. And this themed review will seek to accredit them to offer in the hybrid modalities. And then the last big initiative that will be implemented in the next year is a review of all initial teacher education qualifications in the country, the Bachelor of Education and the Postgraduate Certificate in Education. The CHE will be reviewing all of those at all the institutions that offer them in order to understand the extent to which those qualifications are meeting the quality criteria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I am now going to call upon my colleague, Mr. TK Bengu, to come and facilitate the Q&A session. In summary, the 4 entities are saying they are legislatively mandated to ensure that the institutions that operate in the country provide credible and quality education. The responsibility resides with us as citizens to verify the legitimacy thereof. Mr. Bengu.
Thank you, Mr. Reporter, and to all our principals. Thank you for gracing us with your presence today in addressing the country. My name is TK Pengu. I'm the Communications and Stakeholder Relations Manager for the Council on Higher Education. And before we go into the Q&A, I would like to further echo Mr. Naidu, QCTO CEO's message that we may be each responsible for our own sub-frameworks, but collectively, we are responsible for the well-being of our learners in the country. And the message that I always share when it comes to addressing or running this campaign is that it saddens us when you find a student from the rural areas whom his or her parents had to sell some of their livestock so that they can afford tuition and accommodation to study in the big city, and to count the years down. When they graduate, they go to SAQA to say, can we verify this qualification? And SAQA says that qualification is not registered in our database. So the student has been duped and scammed, and parents lost money. You find that by the time the student graduates, the kraal in the yard, it's empty. There's not even a single cow left because they were trying to invest in the future of their child. So we plead with you, and we ask the media that work with us to try elevate the message and spread it across the country, that all the students and all the parents, whether be it urban or rural, that it gets to them, and we avoid all this unnecessary pain and suffering. And again, we not only condemning, when we hit the streets to run the campaigns, we plead with those institutions or those who so aspire to enter the learning space. And we give them clear guidelines. We say, come, let's work with you so that you can offer legitimate qualifications. As Dr. Green did indicate, that the private higher education sector plays a very critical role. So by all means, we are more than open to assist at any of our levels, as our principals did indicate that how to find us and how to reach us. Please do so, and also requesting the media that do publish the contact details and our credentials. And lastly, you can maybe ask yourself, how do the CEO actually see this throughout the whole year? As you know, they have quite a lot in their hands that they have to carry. They have put on plans and mechanisms to ensure that this campaign does not only happen now. We also have a subcommittee which is more operational to the CEO's committee, that throughout the year, as Dr. Makapa did indicate, we're always reaching out to the community and different province and different means through digital platforms, through campaigns. We do engage them. And again, thank you to our principals and thank you to the media. Colleagues, I'll take a round of 5 hands in one go. Please do introduce yourself and indicate which media house you're from. And maybe if you have a specific question that you're going to be addressing with any of our CEOs, please do so by indicating. And after taking that first round, I'll check with Batabile, who's working with us, to see if any of the participants who are joining us online have posed any question, and she will read them to our principals. We are open, ladies and gentlemen. I have one hand here. 2. Okay, for now I'll take these 2 in that order.
Good morning. I am Tato Letaba from the South African Qualifications Authority. The question is directed to Umalusi. There have been concerns from learners that don't feel comfortable with their results being published in newspapers. Perhaps is there a framework in place to ensure that you protect some kids who don't feel comfortable with their results being published? And the second question is, you spoke about the limited space of individuals at varsities. Will you consider the introduction of digital education access to those who can't afford accommodation or to relocate but can access education in rural areas? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Fernie from ENCA. I have a number of questions, and I'm not sure where some of them are going, but maybe the first one is, we've seen the minister's directive to the Vaal University of Technology. Just maybe reaction from the top table around claims that VUT may be running 8 degrees or 5 degrees syndicate of some sort. And secondly, what conversations are being had with VUT over this matter and over the minister's directive and the delay in launching an investigation into that matter? And then maybe thirdly, sort of related to that, the issue of fake qualifications or fake degrees, that sort of thing. I think it was the SAQA CEO who was talking about the cost to youth unemployment. This may be directed then to the SAQA CEO. Just what is the cost to youth unemployment? Are these fake degrees that someone goes to school, they think they've studied something, and then you later find out somehow that it wasn't what they thought it was, or even the bogus colleges for that matter? And how concerning is it given the 30% plus unemployment and even more for youth unemployment?
Thank you. But Tabile, before I give our principals the opportunity, has there been any questions posted online? Okay. I think in the interest of time and space to maneuver around, I was thinking of the microphones, but unfortunately they're not. I think questions were posed to and CHE and also SAQA, but Mr. Naidu, you're more than welcome to also pitch in. I will first give the opportunity to Dr. Rakometi.
I gather that I had only one question. It is about the publication of results in the newspapers. Yes, this matter is a matter between the entity that is responsible for the protection of personal information, I forget the body, and the Department of Basic Education. There's been contestation around this matter up to the beginning of this year. And at the beginning of this year, it was agreed that they will be released in the newspapers. However, I'm aware that the DBE and that body have been in court recently. And I've not seen the outcome of that court decision. So that court decision will close this matter once and for all. Because the adjudication on the matter, I think, at the moment is sub judice, and I cannot pronounce for or against. It's not a matter for Umalusi to decide. It is a matter for the DBE to decide together with the statutory body that is in charge of the protection of personal information. So I just want to say, in a nutshell, the matter is pending in the courts and the outcome will be coming out soon. I don't know how soon the courts will pronounce on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you, colleagues. So I'll take the VUT question first. I would be very hesitant to say it's a scam by VUT. I think it's a syndicate purported to be operating within VUT rather than VUT as the institution taking the scam forward. So I think let's just be careful with how we position it. I think the issue is under the direction of the minister at present. The minister has asked for the report. We trust that VUT will provide the report, and that report will provide the minister with the information he needs to take the next steps. If there are issues that the Quality Council, the CHE, must look into, that will certainly follow the process. So if there are issues of qualification management, for example, at the institution, then the CHE will necessarily need to be involved. But we wait for the report and we wait for the information. In relation to access to education, so this is exactly why we are undertaking that review, that themed review on blended, online, hybrid modes of provision. The idea is that we want to accredit our institutions that have the capacity to offer these alternative modalities, to actually offer them and to extend their offerings in this regard. And this will enable them to reach out to different cohorts of learners, other than those cohorts that are in contact spaces at the actual institutions. So we do hope that the review will actually open the space as we go forward. Thank you.
I think on issues around fake degrees, there's two things. I mean, the issue around youth unemployment is not about fake degrees. I mean, we have people who are qualified, have create qualification, unemployed. And what I was responding to, I was saying we have projects in a pipeline because we realize that I don't think the youth needs to be trained to look for jobs. They can be job creators themselves. So these projects that I mentioned, one example around the potential of micro-credentials in Southern African countries is one good example to respond to the challenge. And there's a project called UNICO project that SAQA is part of, some of our institutions in South Africa, in the SADC region, and some of the companies within the region, is to look in terms of, how do we deal with youth unemployment, issues around entrepreneurship. So the focus around entrepreneurship, how to really support those who are out there, even though those who are not in education, those in employment, education, and training as well, to really look at around issues for entrepreneurship and how can they find the space for them to be able to be future employers. And then we have one actual I didn't share with you around how we're trying to support as an organization called RPL for Entrepreneurship, looking at those who are within villages, who are within townships, to ensure that we bring them into, the focus of recognition through recognition for prior learning, to make sure that, they get some sort of a recognition they can be able to operate and be able to create jobs. So I think, to me, that's the part we're trying to respond as an organization. And around fake degrees and misrep, I think, to me, what has really strengthened the position of SAQA is the revised Amendment Act, where it gives, penalty around, and we are the only country in the world. I mean, address platforms globally. They really feel that what South Africa has done, it is really a huge achievement, and I think we need to congratulate our politicians, because we always criticize them. It's something that we need to embrace as a country. At least we have an act that says people must serve time in jail. And what we do as an organization, I think I share with you that we have NIC. I mean, we're all over the country, whether it's in a village, it's in townships, in taxi ranks, we call them blitz. We are all over to make sure that we educate our communities around fake degrees and to really respond to issues around challenges around bogus colleges. We work together as a collective. I think TK has shared with you how we work together as a team, and June, January, February, we support the Department for Education and Training. Even the ministers on the streets talking about these issues. So we are really, really trying to fight that. I think my plea to all of you when I'm speaking on saying, I think the four of us plus the department is not enough. And we need us as a collective to really fight issues around fake degrees. And one example, as you know, that this is well known in Asia, and where, we have somebody who's just sitting there selling qualifications. So it's something that we have to fight as a collective, and I think what Dr. Green shared with you around the VUT case is about people can come in and really do these things. So it's something that we need to be very careful. And we really do, we even put resources around these things to show you that we don't want to find ourselves or our kids with an empty crawl and there's no qualification to really support that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I just want to touch on a few issues, and I think the issue of fake certificates abounds in the QCTO space, primarily because of the need of it, the short time frames that our programs could last. But let me just maybe I should have said this in my remarks. Is that one of the easiest ways to verify a QCTO certificate is that it has a QR code on it. And a learner, everybody has these devices now, and with a QR code, you could immediately detect whether that is a genuine qualification or a fake. I wouldn't give you all the other security features that we do have on our certificates. It's over 10. And we've now introduced the QR code, which will give you instantaneous verification, if you want to call it that. And really, this is becoming a real, as I used the word before, scourge in our country. Everybody's looking for the quick way out, but in the long run, it definitely does not pay. You go with a fake certificate, if it's not quality, if not verified properly, you're probably going to get employed. The question is, how do you prove your competence if you obtain the certificate in a fraudulent manner? And I can guarantee you, within a month or two, you'd find yourself back on the street. And that just contributes to this high unemployment that we have. So we have to tackle this, but in a very organized way. These shortcut methods of getting fake certificates and things, it's only going to address your dilemma for a shorter period of time. And we've seen that. We've seen that with programs that are firstly not well developed, could also cause that. But certainly the issue of fraudulent and fake qualifications plays a major role in that. Thanks.
I'm sorry for coming back again. I've traced the statement of the statutory body I was referring to earlier on. The statutory body is the information regulator. That is the body that was contesting this matter in court with the Department of Basic Education. On the 28th of October, 2025, they issued a media statement. And I'll just read the first two lines and the last two lines. The statement reads as follows. The North Gauteng High Court in Pretoria has reserved judgment following a 2-day hearing on the matter between the information regulator and the Department of Basic Education regarding the publication of the matric results by the DBE. So judgment is reserved. And further, following arguments by all the parties, legal representatives, the High Court reserved the judgment and thus has not delivered the final decision. However, the judges will take time to consider the submissions made before issuing a judgment. So the matter is pending. The matter is pending. Dr. Magafula has requested me to comment a little bit about the fake matric certificates. That one, a fake matric certificate does not have currency because it is fake. And it will not appear on our database at Umalusi, nor at the SAQA's National Learner Records database. And at face value, if you take the Umalusi issued certificate at whatever level, GTC, NCV, or NSC, and you look at that certificate, it has got security features that no one can duplicate at a corner shop anywhere in the country. If you take that certificate and you put it against slide, there'll be features on the certificate that will come out, just against slide. That will come out either RSA or Umalusi. And if you were to take a UV light and use it against the certificate, you will see even more features on the certificate, which features cannot be duplicated with a photocopier by anybody at the corner shop. That is how you can authenticate the certificate at face value using sunlight or UV light. And beyond that, you can verify through our verification service providers that I referred to earlier on. That can be found on the Umalusi's website. So anybody who buys a certificate at a photocopier shop anywhere in any CBD in the country is wasting his or her money. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleagues. I'm going to take the next round of questions. Colleagues? Can you slightly raise your voice, please?
I think I'm a bit louder now. Just quoting from an article, a UCT article from a few years ago, they talked about the increase in the number of reported cases of fake qualifications that had been reported to whichever bodies, right? So they say from around 2011-12, it went from just 37 reported to around 982 in the 2017-2018 financial year. I don't know if anyone has numbers now offhand to sort of say where the picture is now, but if there are no numbers available now, please can I have them after this. But I just want to ask, in terms of these numbers of reported cases, what is the reason that these numbers are being seen now? Is it the security features that are being spoken about? Is it that people are just reporting other people because maybe they had a falling out and now you want to report them because there's bad blood? Whatever the reasons are, it seems that now these issues are sort of coming out. And then also, how much worse could it actually be in terms of these fake qualifications?
Is that it?
Yeah.
Thank you. Just to check again with Batawile. Nothing as yet. Yes, sir?
It's Tato Letaba again from the SABC. Recently there was an article that was ran about the Eastern Cape Premier, Oscar Mabuyane, that his qualification might be bogus. So I just want to ask from the SAQA, how far are they with investigations into that matter? Thank you.
Thank you. Before I hand over to our colleagues, which I do believe mostly have been directed to Dr. Makapa, and I just want to highlight one thing, that as the NQF family, we are very much accessible. And yes, it's good to make reference to articles that have been published and concerning matters that have to do with higher education. And we are available and accessible. And if there's anything to verify within the respective sub-framework, please knock at our doors. And especially for us, I think our principals are slightly operate in a much more relaxed environment and approach. We do also operate the open door policy that you can easily walk in at QCTO, CHE, Umalusi, or SAQA. We're very much accessible to the public and everyone. And with that noted, Dr. Makapa? And also, colleagues, you're more than welcome to pitch in if there's any input you want to make.
Thank you very much. And I'm glad that somebody's concerned about the fake qualification. I think it's closer to your heart. Maybe understand why. In terms of the numbers, I mean, I don't want to give some that we can communicate with you. I mean, we do report as SAQA in terms of, get reports from the 3 QCs and you consolidate that. We're even in the, because since the misrep, the Act, we are now trying to look at processes. We are engaging with the education institution. We did a survey around this, so in terms of how best can we collect data. I think if you check some that maybe is not published, most of this happens even in higher education. People come in, become lecturers with fake qualifications, and they move from one institution to the other. So we're trying to create a system that is going to be into the country, and we're coordinating that together with our QCs so that we really get rid of these things. The issue around is it Oscar Mabuyane? It's now brought to us for investigation. What you normally do, we deal with the public protector. If something is brought to their attention, it's brought to us for investigation. We've handled various cases. If it's not brought to our attention, we cannot respond to it. So it's only when something is brought to our attention, then we can investigate and respond to appropriate officers. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I just want to comment on the increase in the number of fake qualifications that are being identified. It may be because of the advocacy that we are busy with, that we are letting more and more people about this unpleasant phenomenon. And that also we are letting the members of the public about the security features and the verification processes that have to be followed. And that the employers are more and more verifying qualifications before they engage employees in their establishments. So this advocacy that we are doing with you is helping us, in detecting these people. As you're asking the question, Hloni, an experience of about 3 years, 4 years ago, at one of the universities, and I can be specific, it was the University of Venda, where the students had gotten up to third year, fourth year level of their bachelor degree studies. And at that time, it was detected that they didn't have their matric certificates. That nullified everything that they'd been doing at that university. So fake qualifications, if you access universities with a fake matric certificate, you're not going to win. You're not going to win. As a matter of fact, all the employers in the country, as far as I know, even if you've got your BA degree, your BCom degree, whatever degree, before they engage you, they would want an ID and the matric certificate. In other words, for you to function in the South African economy, you need these two documents. You may be having your BA, but they are still going to ask for a matric certificate. I'm happy that also the political parties, with the local government elections coming next year, they are saying a minimum requirement is the National Senior Certificate or a qualification at NQF level 4. It could be NCV level 4. So that's where we are as a country. We are winning the battle by identifying more and more of these fake qualifications. Thank you very much.
Thank you again, Dr. Committee and Dr. Makapa. Last opportunity for last round of questions. I guess our principals were very much clear in the message that we're sending today. And if there's any confusion, you're more than welcome to approach us. And also just to double check again with Batabile, still nothing for the online participants. Thank you. And again, just to emphasize the timing of this joint media briefing, it was very much intentional, and the reason being that we are at the end of the year, and soon the matric results will be out, and students will start looking for post-school training, going to look for universities, either public or private. And this is the time where they are most very much prone to such scammers. And if you walk around town, I think the marketing of recruitment of students for 2026 academic year, it's at its highest. And again, this is the time of the year where parents will be getting their bonuses or their savings being released so that they can start planning for next year. And the scammers, they are well aware of such information. And we're not only stopping here, we will continue to engage the sector, the students, and the parents via our various digital platform, be it social media or our website. And we'll also continue to do groundwork, going to provinces and towns to educate the community about the work that we do as the NQF family. And again, our colleagues did mention that only us, as per mandates that we carry, we cannot reach the whole country. We're not sufficient, but we need everyone to play their part, that have such conversation during dinner table at home, when you at the pub this festive season enjoying your cold drink. Talk about these things. And again, to the media, let's make the NQF family, QCTO, CHE, Umalusi, and SAQA, let's make them trend. Let's make them those fashionable institutions, because they carry the future of our country. The youth of our country, their future lies in our hands. So the more you guys make us trend, the more easily accessible and more people know about us. And it also amplifies the messages that we're constantly saying. And to the students, the class of 2025 and the future class of 2026, who will be entering the post-school education and training, be aware, verify before you register with any institution. When you go to any institution, they should display their credentials on the wall. That's a certificate that they are registered as an institution of learning and also the programs that they are accredited to offer. But don't stop there, because history has proven that people can fake certification or any documents. As Dr. Green noted, visit the DHEAD website. And when you land on a landing page, on your far right, there's a tab that says resources. You click on that tab. That tab contains registers of up-to-date institutions that are registered and as institutions of learning and the qualifications that they offers. Because we've seen a growing trend that some of the colleges, yes, they are registered and yes, they are accredited to offer maybe, let's say, 6 qualifications. But when you visit them, they're offering a massive of more than 20 qualifications. So some institutions have a tendency of sneaking in qualifications that are not accredited. So whatever that the institution says it's offering should be on the register. If it's not on the registers, don't take the chance. And last message, parting message, that try to take shortcuts. There's only one outcome. It will end in tears. It never ends well, trust me. It never. You can enjoy the fruits of the fake qualification or certificates that you have, but it will be short-lived. And as the NQF family, we are leveraging technology, whether be it AI or any available latest technology, to strengthen the security measures and verification processes and to secure, and more than anything, to try and lift the education, learning and education space into the next future. And with that said, and the limited powers that have been vested in me, thank you again to the media, and thank you again to our principals, and also acknowledging all the NQF family communicators that are present, who've worked tirelessly to make sure that this media briefing is a success. And again, we're not stopping here. This is a continuation of what we started. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for gracing us with your presence.